D. Watkins here with Salon, and today I'll be joined by the legendary, celebrated, Oscar and Emmy nominated actor Rosie Perez to talk about her new Showtime series, Your Honor. Rosie, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on.
I'm so excited about this season. Congratulations on the new show. Like so many people, I fell in love with it over the pandemic. I like this so much. I watched it twice.
Oh, wow.
And I think we thought it was over. A lot of people, I didn't know about a season two, but then I heard it was coming. I heard you was gonna be on it, and then like I knew you guys were up to something special. Won't you tell us how you got involved with the project?
Sure. I didn't know there was going to be a season two either, neither did Brian. And one of the people over at Showtime asked him the question, where do you think Michael would be after all of this? And Brian said he'd probably either take his own life or be in prison. And that's how the second season began from there. And they incorporated my character late in the writing process. So I literally got the call on Friday, had to fly on Saturday, and then shoot the next day. I had no prep time. I was scared to death. I first turned down the role because of that, because I didn't have enough prep time. And I have a very strong work ethic when it comes to this. I don't like to mess anything up. But Brian got on the phone with me and just kept convincing me, and he's so charming. I can't stand it. I really can't. Be irritating. And so then when we the first day of shooting, I just had to just dive right in and create a character right on the spot. It was crazy.
What
It was
what is your prep time normally like? How do you normally get ready, excited to play someone?
it depends upon the role, but it's really just kind of getting within myself and finding the truth of the character within me, and then just research and then studying the lines over
Mhm.
and over and over because the words mean nothing. They only mean something when there's intention behind them.
Mhm.
So if you know the lines, then you don't have to worry about the lines. I had no time for that. You know, in my first scene that we shot, I had this monologue. I was dying. But the challenge, I'm so glad that I said yes, because the challenge was a severe, heavy duty challenge, but it's one of those things in the career that you just go, oh wow, thank goodness for these. So
So tell us about Olivia Delmont. You play Assistant U.S. Attorney Olivia Delmont. Tell us about her.
she's from New Jersey. Um, and she's been transferred down to New Orleans. And she is hell bent on getting the Baxter crime family, pulling them down. And she knows that Michael Desiato, that's Bryan Cranston's character, is the key. And she will use him and manipulate him within the law to get what she wants.
Within the law. She doesn't bend the rules. In season one, we meet Bryan Cranston's character. He's an ethical judge who he understands the system. And he tries his best to help people, but then he throws it all out the window when it comes time to protect his son. At least is what I took from the series. In his journey, we see the ridiculous amount of holes that exist inside of the legal system. So and I think a whole lot of people learned from season one. And without giving any spoilers away, what do you think some of the takeaways may be that people are gonna have after they spend time watching you in season two?
Well, I think one is how manipulative law enforcement can be, um, you know, for the good of the people that they're serving. And I also think that it really addresses the prison system, in a very real way. When I was reading it, I was like, wow, they're going to go there, and they do. Um, you know, uh, but I also think that what they hopefully take away is about accountability and can you find redemption, or can you be offered forgiveness without accountability? And that is Michael's journey. And I present that challenge for Michael. Olivia does.
All of my favorite shows, they tend to blur the line between politics, law enforcement, and the streets. And I think Your Honor does an excellent job at that. I would put Your Honor at the top of the list. What do you think this show says about criminal justice, just in general, across the board?
I think the show says that criminal justice is very complicated.
Mm.
That sometimes it doesn't take into account the human factor. And if you take season one, it proposes the question for everyone: what would you do if that was your son? Here's a judge who has a certain level of an immense amount of integrity, but when it comes to his flesh and blood, that goes out the window. And does the criminal system take that into account? So it brings into question that, and it also brings into question the criminal justice system about rehabilitation. What is fair? And how many people do we just throw away? Lock them up and throw away. And for me, I believe in our law enforcement. Yeah, there are a lot of bad eggs, but there are also a lot of really good people. And approaching this role, I wanted to offer that to Olivia. Yes, she's extremely manipulative and cheeky, but she does believe in the rule of law, and she will be a stand-up law enforcement person.
Is it easy? Is it easy for you to play a cop, or is it difficult? Just in thinking about like how you just referenced the police climate, and how there's so many different perspectives of how law enforcement works.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's complicated, and I know that I have an advantage because there are law enforcement within my family, and I have made friends with DAs. I won't name their names, yeah, former DAs, yeah, prosecutors, judges. I have become friendly with them, and sometimes we get into really heated discussions. I see things one way and they see the other, and I think that that's good. I hope people, because there's such division right now here, not just in the United States. We see what's going on in Brazil. It's all throughout the world right now. And it's either black or it's white, and there's no more gray area. There's no more area of saying, okay, maybe I see your point. On both sides.
No room for nuance.
No.
Everything has to be black and white, and if you even with this side or that side, and it doesn't matter, and we'll never move forward as a nation, as a world like that. So I'm so glad you brought that up. How do you pick roles?
If they're good.
Is it based on the writing? Is it based on? It's based
on the writing first and foremost, because as the cliche goes, if it's not on the page, it's not going to be there on the screen. And then also within the writing, is there room to work with? Is there room to create someone that is real and authentic? And also the cast has a lot to do with my decisions.
Like a party, like who's going to be there?
Oh, absolutely, because I mean, like this last minute request, the number one reason I said yes was Bryan Cranston, and also the rest of the cast, quite frankly, like Hope Davis. I just revere her acting style, and also Michael Stuhlbarg, and there's so many other great performances that were in season one. And also it's the director and the studio, because if you don't have someone who really knows how to direct, it can suffer no matter how good you are. And if you don't have a studio that is supportive behind you, that comes into play, and it comes in your mind and on your day of work. You just don't need any added stress.
You ever passed on something that you wish you would have taken, or?
No.
You know,
Not that I could think of. Maybe tomorrow I'll go, I would call and say, oh, I should have said this one. But no.
I work in television now, and as a writer, and the film that sparked my whole interest in this wild industry was actually Do the Right Thing. And 34 years ago, a lot has happened since then. We had our first black president. I think we got our first minority leader like the other day. Congress may have apologized for slavery at some point. I don't know if it was a meme. Um, but some things have happened. Are you seeing some changes in the industry?
I'm seeing some changes, but they're still very small changes. We're really not going to see a lot of change unless people in the power positions reflect what the world is really about. Yeah, we can have changes with people in front of the camera, and that's really small. But if that saying that's been going around for a while, show me your room. If your room is not diverse, the opportunities will not be diverse either. So I think that there's a lot that needs to be done. Studio executives, executive producers, financiers, DPs, makeup people, casting directors. It trickles all the way down. It's not just about the actors, and sometimes, actors could be a little bit self-serving or just only see their category, because they're just in a bubble within their own experience. But that takes a lot of moving parts to move the wheel forward.
Can we expect well, what can we expect from you? What's next for you?
Well, I mean, I don't want to say because I don't want to jinx it. I'm a little superstitious like that.
Okay.
I'm serious. My family goes, "What are you working on?" Oh yeah, right. You won't tell us. Unless it's done. When they say it's a wrap, that's when I make a call. The only person in my family that I actually share, if there's a possibility or if something's in development, so is my sister Carmen, because she works with me. She runs lines with me, she travels with me, she's my biggest supporter outside of my husband, and my family is very supportive as well, like my cousin Sixto, my cousin Bryan. There's a lot of people that are supportive with me, but it's Carmen is the only one that I go, come
here. Did your family travel with you to New Orleans?
No, my sister couldn't travel with me to New Orleans, and she was dying to go because her former profession, she was a retired chef. She was a certified chef, and now she's a retired chef. She graduated from the French Culinary Institute, and she just got tired. It's an exhausting job being a chef.
Yeah, the reason why I asked about that, we don't want you to let any secrets out the bag. But when I think about the flight attendant, when I think about A White Man Can't Jump, when I think about all of these different films, they're all different, unique characters. However, there's like people don't. I feel like a lot of people don't have to wait to like your character. They don't have to wait. Like sometimes some characters are like an acquired taste, but when you walk on the screen, regardless of the role you playing, it's something that feels familiar, and I'm like, I wonder if Rosie wants to direct. Is she directing? Can you create that?
Well, well, back in the day, I directed directed a couple of music videos, and I just recently directed a short that it was an ensemble of different directors and stories, an anthology about COVID that Trudy Styler and Sting put together, and it got into Tribeca. We were really excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was really hard because it was during the pandemic, and I had to shoot it on an iPhone, and I had to say, okay, sound, I'm sound, roll camera, I'm camera, and action, I'm the director. And then I have to run in front of the camera and also be the actor. And that was exhilarating. It was really, really hard, but it was exhilarating.
I love it. Tell everyone how they can catch up with you and when and where they can see your honor.
They Could See Your Honor, January 13th on Showtime. And please tune in because you're going to love it just as much as you love season one.
Everyone's looking forward to it. Thank you so much, and thank you for doing this.
All right, thank you. Nice to talk to you.